The vast emptiness of space held many dangers, but none worried the Luminary Trading Coalition more than the recent wave of pirate attacks. Their ships, once symbols of peaceful commerce across the galaxy, now became targets of increasingly bold raiders. Captain Marcus Reed watched from his small merchant vessel as another luminary ship burned in the distance. The pirates had struck again, but this time they had made a mistake. They hadn't noticed his ship hiding in the shadow of a nearby asteroid. His human instincts, honed on Earth's harsh surface, had warned him of danger long before his ship's sensors picked up the attack. The luminary crew's desperate calls for help echoed through his communication system. Their high-pitched voices, usually musical and calm, now trembled with fear. Reed gripped his chair tightly, his muscles tense with the urge to help, but he knew his small trading vessel stood no chance against the three heavily armed pirate ships. Instead, he did what any good survivor would do. He recorded everything. His ship's cameras captured the pirates' attack pattern, their ship designs, and their brutal efficiency. The raiders struck with military precision, disabling the luminary vessel's engines before boarding it. This was no random attack by space bandits. These pirates moved like trained soldiers. Hours later, in the grand meeting hall of the Coalition Council on Luminar Prime, Reed stood before the assembled alien leaders. Their tall, slender forms towered over his stocky human frame, their bioluminescent skin casting soft blue light across the marble-like floor. The pirates knew exactly where to hit, Reed explained, pointing to the holographic replay of the attack. They're targeting your major trade routes, and they're getting bolder with each success. Council Leader Bright, his skin pulsing with concerned purple patterns, leaned forward. But how can they predict our movements so well? Our trade schedules are closely guarded. Someone's feeding them information, Reed said bluntly, earning shocked gasps from several council members. Humans were known for their direct approach, a trait that often unsettled the diplomatic luminary. A younger council member, his skin barely glowing, spoke up. Perhaps we should request help from Earth's Defense Force. The chamber fell silent. Everyone knew about Earth, the Death World, as many called it. Its people had evolved on a planet with crushing gravity, extreme weather, and countless predators. Humans like Reed were known throughout the galaxy as tough and resourceful, but also dangerous and unpredictable. We are a peaceful people, Council Leader Bright said slowly. Opening our doors to human military forces would save lives, Reed interrupted. I've seen 12 attacks in the past month alone. How many ships have you lost? How many crew members? The council chamber erupted in worried discussion. Reed stood quietly, knowing he had planted the seed. As a merchant who had worked with the Luminary for years, he understood their reluctance, but he also knew his people's reputation might be exactly what the Coalition needed right now. Finally, Council Leader Bright raised his hand for silence. His skin now pulsed with determined green patterns. Captain Reed, would you be willing to carry a message to Earth on our behalf? Reed nodded, a slight smile crossing his face. Sometimes, the only way to deal with predators was to call in another predator. And humans, for better or worse, were among the galaxy's finest. Ambassador Lyra had never felt gravity quite like Earth's. Each step required conscious effort as she made her way through Earth's Defense Council headquarters. Her ceremonial robes, usually flowing elegantly in Luminar Prime's gentle gravity, now dragged heavily against the floor. The human guards stood like statues, their muscular frames a reminder of their species' evolution on this crushing world. Lyra fought to keep her skin's glow steady, not wanting to betray her nervousness through the rapid color changes typical of her kind. The Defense Council chamber was spartanly decorated compared to the ornate halls of the Coalition. 5 humans sat at a simple metal table, their faces showing that peculiar stillness that made them so hard to read. The Coalition faces an unprecedented crisis, Lyra began, her translator converting her musical tones into human speech. Our trade routes are being systematically attacked by well-organized pirates who seem to have inside information, interrupted General Banks, the eldest of the human counselors. Captain Reed's report was quite thorough. Lyra's skin flickered with surprise. Human's directness still caught her off guard. Yes, we request Earth's military assistance. Commander Alex Stone, sitting at the far end of the table, leaned forward. His scared face and intense eyes made Lyra's skin ripple with instinctive fear. This was exactly the type of human that gave their species such a frightening reputation. "You've got a fleet 10 times the size of ours," Stone said. "Why do you need us?" "Numbers aren't everything," Lyra replied carefully. "Our people are peaceful. We lack the aggressive instincts needed for effective combat." The humans exchanged glances. Lyra had spent enough time studying them to recognize their expression. It was the look they got when trying not to smile at something they found amusing. "You want us to teach your people to fight," Stone stated flatly. "We want you to teach us to survive," Lyra corrected, her skin pulsing with earnest blue light. After a brief discussion, the council agreed. Commander Stone would lead a team of human military advisors to help the coalition. As they left the chamber, Stone fell into step beside Lyra, somehow managing to match her awkward gait in Earth's gravity. "A word of warning, Ambassador," he said quietly. "Your people asked for human help, but are you ready for human solutions?" Lyra's skin flashed with determined patterns. "The pirates leave us no choice. We must adapt or perish." Stone nodded, a grim smile crossing his face. "Then let's hope your people can handle a little Deathworlder chaos in their orderly lives." As they boarded the transport ship, Lyra wondered if the coalition truly understood what they had just set in motion. Sometimes, she thought, the cure could be more shocking than the disease. But watching Stone efficiently prepare for departure, she felt something new, hope, mixed with just a touch of fear. Perhaps that combination was exactly what the coalition needed. Commander Stone watched the Luminary security forces attempt their 5th combat drill of the day. Their movements were graceful but ineffective, like dancers trying to perform a war dance they didn't understand. "Stop," his voice echoed across the training hall. "You're still treating this like a ceremony. Pirates won't wait for you to complete your defensive formations." The Luminary trainees paused, their skin showing patterns of confusion and frustration. Their leader, Officer Beam, stepped forward. "Commander, we're following the manual exactly as." "Throw away the manual," Stone interrupted, picking up a training weapon. "Watch." He moved through the exercise with quick, efficient motions. No grace, no ceremony, just brutal effectiveness. The Luminary's skin flickered with shock at his speed and power. "That's not how we were taught," Beam said, his glow dimming slightly. "That's why you're losing ships," Stone replied. "Combat isn't pretty. It's about survival." Over the next few hours, Stone drilled them again and again. The Luminary, despite their natural aversion to violence, began to adapt. Their movements became sharper, more purposeful. Their natural agility, when properly directed, proved to be an unexpected advantage. The breakthrough came during an afternoon exercise. Pirates had been spotted near a minor trade route, and Stone took a mixed crew of humans and Luminary to intercept them. "Remember your training," Stone said as they approached the pirate vessel. "No fancy formations. Hit hard, hit fast." The pirates, expecting easy prey, were completely unprepared for the Luminary ship's aggressive approach. The boarding party, led by Officer Beam, moved with a combination of Luminary grace and human ferocity that caught the raiders off guard. Stone watched with pride as Beam executed a perfect takedown maneuver, his skin glowing with intense focus rather than its usual peaceful patterns. The pirates surrendered in less than 10 minutes. Back at the training base, the success sparked a change in attitude. Other Luminary crews began requesting human combat training. Even the most traditional officers couldn't argue with the results. "I never thought we could fight like that," Beam admitted to Stone after the mission. His skin showed patterns of pride mixed with lingering uncertainty. "You're not fighting like humans," Stone corrected. "You're fighting like Luminary warriors." You just needed to remember that your ancestors weren't always peaceful traders. The words struck home. Ancient luminary art depicted their species as fierce defenders before they chose the path of peace. Perhaps, Stone thought, they hadn't lost their warrior spirit after all. It had just been sleeping, waiting for the right moment to awaken. That night, watching his trainees practice, Stone saw something new in their movements. Confidence. They were finding their own way of fighting, blending their natural grace with human combat principles. The pirates wouldn't know what hit them. Commander Stone stared at the data scrolling across his screen, his jaw tightening with each new line. The pirate attacks showed a pattern that was impossible to ignore. They weren't just raids, they were strategic strikes. "Take a look at this," he said to Tal, the luminary intelligence officer who had been assigned to him. "Notice anything strange about these attack locations?" Tal's skin rippled with patterns of realization. "They're avoiding all ships connected to Premium Holdings Corporation." "Exactly." Stone pulled up another file. "And guess who sits on your coalition's Trade Security Council?" "Premium Holdings has 3 representatives," Tal said, his glow dimming to a troubled blue. "But surely you're not suggesting—" "I'm not suggesting anything. I'm showing you facts." Stone displayed a series of transaction records. "These attacks aren't random. Someone's eliminating Premium's competition." Tal moved with unexpected speed, sealing the office's security systems. His skin now pulsed with determined red patterns Stone had never seen before. "We need to take this to Council Leader Bright." "Not yet," Stone warned. "If Premium has infiltrated the Security Council, they probably have eyes on the main council too." Working through the night, Stone and Tal dug deeper. They found hidden money trails, mysterious ship disappearances, and communication logs that pointed to a massive conspiracy. Premium Holdings wasn't just avoiding pirate attacks, they were orchestrating them. "The Crimson Federation," Tal whispered, his glow barely visible as he decoded another transmission. "They're providing the pirates. Premium promised them exclusive trade rights once they've eliminated enough competition." Stone cursed under his breath. The Crimson Federation was known for its aggressive expansion, but everyone thought they were too far away to threaten coalition space. Now it made sense. They didn't need to invade if they could take control through corporate puppets. "We need proof that will stand up in coalition court," Stone said. "Something even Premium's lawyers can't explain away." Tal's skin suddenly flashed with inspiration. "The next attack. According to these patterns, they'll hit the Green Line trading route tomorrow. If we can catch them in the act and trace their communications back to Premium," Stone finished. "But we'll need help." They spent the next hours carefully selecting a small team of trusted officers, both human and luminary. The evidence had to be perfect, or Premium's influence would bury it. As they finalized their plans, Tal turned to Stone. "Commander, if we're right about this, we're not just fighting pirates anymore. We're taking on one of the most powerful corporations in coalition space." Stone smiled grimly. "Good thing you called in a Deathworlder then." The emergency alarms blared through Coalition Command as Stone burst into the control room. Red warning lights reflected off the luminary officer's rapidly flickering skin, their patterns showing fear and confusion. "Status report," Stone demanded, rushing to the main display. Officer Beam's voice cracked with stress. "Massive pirate fleet just jumped in system. At least 30 ships, heading straight for the capital. But Commander, our defense grid is down." "Down?" Stone's eyes narrowed. "Or disabled." "Sabotage," Tal confirmed, his skin pulsing with angry red patterns. "Premium's agents struck just before the fleet arrived. Half our automated defenses are offline, and communication with our outer bases is jammed." Stone watched the tactical display as the pirate fleet approached in perfect formation. This was it. Premium's endgame. Take out the coalition's leadership in one massive strike, then step in to restore order with their Crimson Federation allies. "They think we're helpless without our automated systems," Stone said, a dangerous smile crossing his face. Time to show them how Deathworlders fight when the machines fail. He grabbed the command room's microphone, broadcasting to all Coalition ships. "This is Commander Stone. Implement Combat Protocol 0. The luminary officer's skin flickered with surprise. Protocol 0 was something Stone had drilled them on in secret, a completely manual combat system based on human naval warfare techniques from before the age of computers. "Sir," Beam said, his glow strengthening with determination. "All ships reporting ready." "They remember the training." Stone nodded. The pirates would be expecting the usual luminary response, a defensive formation, waiting for their automated systems to come back online. Instead, they were about to face something they'd never seen before, a luminary fleet fighting with human tactics. "Break formation," Stone ordered. "Scattered attack pattern. No ship transmits its position. Use visual signals only. Fight like your ancestors did before they had machines to think for them." The Coalition fleet split apart, each ship moving independently. The pirate formation, designed to counter standard luminary tactics, began to fall into chaos as they couldn't predict their enemies' movements. "Now," Stone said quietly, "let's show them why you don't back a peaceful people into a corner." He turned to his crew, seeing the same fierce determination in their glowing patterns that he felt in his own chest. "All ships, attack." Space lit up with weapons fire as the Coalition fleet engaged the pirates. Stone's flagship dove through the chaos, leading by example as Coalition ships fought with a ferocity that shocked their enemies. "Port side batteries, fire," Stone commanded. His mixed human luminary crew responded instantly, their training showing in every action. The luminary weapons officer's skin glowed with intense concentration as he fired, his natural grace making the targeting adjustments smoother than any human could manage. The pirates' tight formation, normally effective against standard luminary tactics, became their weakness. Unable to predict the Coalition ships' movements, they started firing blindly, wasting ammunition and energy. Reading multiple impacts on enemy flagship, Beam reported, his skin flashing with fierce satisfaction. "Their shields are failing." Stone allowed himself a grim smile. The pirates had expected to face confused, disorganized prey. Instead, they'd found predators. Then everything went wrong. "Incoming," Tal shouted. A massive energy surge from the pirate flagship struck Stone's ship directly. The bridge shuddered, systems failing across every deck. "Hull breach on decks 3 through 5, someone reported. "We're losing power to engines." Stone grabbed the command console as artificial gravity flickered. "Reroute all auxiliary power to weapons. If we're going down, we're taking their flagship with us." The luminary crew's skin pulsed with determined patterns as they worked. No one fled their posts, no one hesitated. They'd learned well from their human teacher. "Sir," Beam called out, "look at the tactical display." Through the chaos, Stone saw it. The Coalition ships were adapting, using his crippled flagship as bait. While the pirates focused on finishing him off, the rest of the fleet was encircling them. "Now that," Stone said proudly, his proper Deathworlder thinking. He keyed the ship-wide comm. "All hands, brace for impact. We're going to ram them." The luminary crew's skin flashed with surprise, then understanding. Their ship might be crippled, but it could still serve as a weapon. "For the Coalition," Beam shouted, his voice joined by others, human and luminary alike. Stone's flagship plowed into the pirate fleet's formation, its damaged hull becoming a battering ram. The move threw the pirates into complete disarray, leaving them exposed to the Coalition fleet's killing blow. 6 months after the battle, Commander Stone stood in the rebuilt Coalition Council chamber. His dress uniform felt tight around the shoulders, still not fully healed from the injuries he'd sustained during the ramming attack. "The evidence against Premium Holdings is irrefutable," Council Leader Bright announced, his skin glowing with formal patterns. "Their collaboration with the Crimson Federation and orchestration of pirate attacks constitutes high treason." Stone watched as Premium's representatives were led away. The corporation's fall had sent shockwaves through coalition space, but it had also sparked important changes. "Commander," Bright continued, his patterns shifting to warmer colors, "your actions saved not just our capital, but our way of life. The Coalition wishes to establish a permanent military exchange program with Earth." Stone glanced at his former trainees in the audience. Officer Beam's skin glowed with pride, while Tal showed patterns of quiet satisfaction. They weren't the same people he'd met months ago. They were warriors now, but still uniquely luminary. "The program will be different from what we initially envisioned," Bright explained. "We won't just learn human combat techniques. We'll teach humans our diplomatic traditions in return. Balance, after all, is the key to lasting peace." Later, walking through the capital city, Stone stopped to watch a group of young luminary playing in a park. They were reenacting the Great Battle, their skin flashing with excitement as they pretended to be both human commanders and luminary warriors. "Quite a change from 6 months ago," Beam said, joining him. "Back then, most luminary children wouldn't even play fighting games." Stone nodded. "Are you worried we've changed your people too much?" "We haven't changed," Beam replied, his skin showing thoughtful patterns. "We've remembered something we forgot. Sometimes, the most peaceful path requires the strength to defend it." As if to emphasize his point, a Coalition patrol ship passed overhead, its crew using the new hybrid fighting style that combined luminary grace with human tactical principles. The ship's name, painted in both human and luminary script, caught the sunlight. "Unity." "You know," Stone said, watching the ship disappear into the clouds, "when your people first called for a Deathworlder, I thought you just wanted someone to fight your battles. But that wasn't it, was it?" "No," Beam agreed, his skin glowing with the complex patterns of deep understanding. "We needed someone to remind us that being peaceful doesn't mean being helpless. Sometimes the greatest gift a warrior can give is teaching others to stand on their own." The sun set over the Coalition capital, its light reflecting off buildings that showed both luminary elegance and human-inspired defensive features. In the distance, another group of children played, their skin glowing with patterns that would have been impossible to imagine before, the perfect blend of peace and strength, of wisdom and courage, of two cultures that had finally learned to see the best in each other.